Ada County is now the second county in Idaho with an anti-discrimination ordinance on the books after county commissioners unanimously passed it tonight at a public hearing.
This makes 2 counties and 12 cities that have implemented similar ordinances in Idaho. Our Misty Inglet was at the hearing and spoke with county commissioners earlier about this. She's live now at the courthouse with more. Misty.
So Mark and Kim, the hearing attendance was great. More than 30 people signed up in favor of the ordinance. And what this ordinance does is it prevents any sort of discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And it applies to areas like housing, employment, and public accommodations, and applies to everyone. Ada County commissioners voted unanimously Wednesday night to pass a non-discrimination ordinance. That vote came after testimony from dozens of community members, all in favor of it.
Non-discrimination ordinance like the one you are considering tonight for Ada County are not only the right thing to do, but are necessary.
As a parent, all I ever want is to protect my child. But my daughter's lesbian, and I can't protect her by myself.
And I, being part of that community, it is very worrying when I think about working and think about that I could be fired for my sexuality and leaning for that. So I just want to say that I am in favor.
At camps and Sunday school and in youth group meetings, I have had many kids share with me the fear and hurt they've experienced because they are lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. By adopting this non-discrimination ordinance, Ada County will be sending a clear message of inclusivity and tolerance to our youth and more.
The ordinance was brought forward by Commissioner Diana Laciondo.
In many ways, it's about the message we send. Again, I've heard from the business community, heard from affected parties. I'm really thinking about those kids and families who want to know that they're accepted and welcomed in this community.
The ordinance prevents discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity and applies to areas of employment, housing, and public accommodations. Supporters say this is much needed and hopefully a push for the state legislature to do more.
You know, we need to have it uniform across the state. We really do. Right now, as I said, if you travel, if you live in one area and you work in another, you're not uniformly protected. We need state-based protections for everyone.
Now, to be clear, Commissioner Laciondo tells me that this will apply to everyone in unincorporated areas of Ada County and, of course, for county employees, but it does not negate or overpower in any way city ordinances that are already in place, such as Boise or Meridian's. And Ada County's ordinance will take effect within 30 days. Send it back to you in the studio.
Again, passing unanimously there at the Ada County Courthouse.